I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring gas. Welcome to Flagrant Howls, a Minnesota Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.
And happy Timberwolves Media Day here, which signals the beginning of training camp tomorrow. I think they play a preseason game on like Thursday. So Wolves basketball is officially back in the mix here. October tomorrow. We got the sports dad, Judd Zulgad, who was on the ground at Wolves Media Day today. Our guy Kyle Taggy flew in and out as well, and so him and I are going to connect on an episode here, maybe even two of them later this week. So you'll hear from Kyle. But yeah, so it's kind of weird because this cat trade is not official with the league yet,
right?
And yet the Wolves had their media day today, so they couldn't like really speak on it. Take us wherever you want here, and then I got some takes that we already did 2 episodes this weekend on the cat trade. I've got even more takes on it, thinking about it. But how did they navigate that?
It was very odd, uncomfortable. But so Tim Conley, the first question was, "Can you talk about the trade?" To which Tim Conley said, "No,
what trade?
Nothing's done yet. I can't talk about any like moves that we might have made or
maybe not."
Yeah, exactly. So it was this charade. And then, he proceeded to talk a ton about Ant and the expectations, but it's all sort of weird because there's this cloud of you just traded away one of your marquee players and you can't talk about the guys coming in.
So you just traded
out.
away. So let me get, so you may or may not have made a trade, but the second best player in franchise history is not listed on the media day list.
Tweeted, I do not see Karl-Anthony Towns here for media day. Isn't this odd?
Didn't they also replace in the media room? There was they have a bunch of photos of players and stuff. They already took the cat photos off the wall, and replaced with other things, right? So
yeah, they're gone. Yeah. So Cat is, I don't know where he went. I don't know what's going on. There's something up here. Chris Finch, same thing. So Conley and Finch talked a lot about the team, and again, there's a lot to discuss about Ant. But, both of them could not comment. Now, the good thing was the players don't care. So there's nothing that restricts the players from talking, I guess, because they all talked about and were asked about Cat being gone. Let's get to Ant, okay? Because I think he's the linchpin here. And there were some things, if you listen closely, about why this trade made sense. Beyond just the opinions or the thoughts from a basketball standpoint of us. First of all, Kat said that he was actually in an airplane when the trade went down on Friday. So he wasn't looped in. I think they tried.
Wait, Ant was?
Ant.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I said Kat. Yeah. Anthony Edwards was in a plane on Friday when Karl-Anthony Towns got traded. So he was not looped in to the trade. He said that he found out after he landed. I'm guessing at that time he was coming back here, and that he was texting with Karl quite a bit. He said, I think everybody knew Cat was my brother, so that hurt. Now, here's the interesting thing, though, and this again is going to start to, I think, play itself out as logical reasons why this shift took place. I believe it was our friend Dane asked at one point about Ant's role now without Cat and how he saw, the new guys, including Julius, Randle, fitting in without Cat. And Ant sort of shot it down, and it's like, it just happened. I haven't really thought about that. Like, you can tell he did like Cat.
Yeah, well, they're buds.
But here's the key quote from Ant. And this was not a quote that said anything bad, but I think it was incredibly telling because I will say the focus of Conley and Finch a lot was to talk about Ant's role, what Ant means. Like, I believe the public thought at some point, at least last season, Phil, that this was Ant's team. But here's his quote. This is Ant with Cat gone now. He said, quote, we were both ones. So Ant was basically asked about being the one last year. Mm-hmm. He said, we were both ones and played off each other. That to me signifies this. If nothing else, and this is not the primary purpose for the trade, but this certainly, I think, plays in, is I don't think Finch and Conley wanted that confusion to continue. This is Ant's team. Everyone, I think, outside the building, everyone around the league, this guy is going to be the face of this league potentially soon, right? I think in Ant's mind, though, he's like, well, as long as Cat's here, I'm a co-1.
Because when you're born into an organization, and this dude's been here for 5 years, he's older, he's putting up 20, 10, and 3 every night. Yeah.
And they're buddies. So he doesn't want to offend him. But my point is, I think if we're trying to do a pie chart of why the trade, I think this gets a slice. It might not be a huge slice, but any confusion that existed of, well, he was here before I was, he's still a star, blah, 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 was removed by this trade, which is no question to a challenge to Ant that you are the guy now. We need you to lead. We need you to be in crucial situations, the unquestioned guy. Yeah. So I just found that to be a very intriguing quote. Ant was trying to be complimentary, but in fact, I don't think this team had a real interest in Ant sharing the marquee, because I think that they know that's not really how this league works now.
It was happening organically. I think I agree with you, but it was already happening organically. It was definitely happening in the playoffs last year, where Ant is just clearly your best go-to player, your dagger thrower, and Cat mixed in some really good games too, and defense on Jokic. So I don't think you had to move him to eliminate that confusion over whose organization is this. But I do agree, for it to fully happen, it's just, it's tough when you're younger and you're coming into somebody else's organization. Yes. So real quick, let's stay on this for a second. This sort of the reasons why they moved Cat. And over the weekend, we talked about a few different things. I mean, if you're Tim Conley and you're looking at this thing and you're looking at being in the second apron luxury tax, the financial aspect of that is one, where ownership, Glenn Taylor, is certainly taking a huge tens of millions of dollars loss when you're in the second apron, which he has greenlit, by the way, credit to him. It's the restrictions that are put on your roster building if you're, second apron, then followed up with a second year. So like getting out of the apron 2025. I think Cat being 29 years old, injuries piling up, being unreliable basically every other playoff game, getting into foul trouble or just not being able to knock down shots, and just generally being super expensive for the next 4 years. All of those were reasons. But Judd, I was digging even deeper this weekend. Like, man, there's got to be even, let's go even deeper on this, because this is such a huge franchise-changing decision to take a guy that's been, Wolves fans were in their feels all weekend and emotional over this, which, I guess I never felt that connection to Cat because I thought he was more frustrating as a player in big spots than anything else. But I found 2 additional nuggets. And this is like, I had theories about this, but I wanted to go and sort of prove it and see if I was right or wrong. And both of my instincts were correct on this. I'm not right about everything, but like in this situation, I was correct. Like, I don't feel like the Wolves have dropped off a lot when he's been injured. Like when he goes out, they just like increase Naz's workload and the other guys kind of fill in, and they just kind of keep winning games when he's out, right? So last year, this is crazy. Last year, among the Wolves' best 3-man lineup combinations, so this person, this person, this person, every 3-person combination on the entire roster, Cat was not a part of any of the top 5 3-man lineup combinations in terms of net rating. The number 1 3-man combo was when Ant, Rudy, and Naz were on the court at the same time. That was their most effective net rating trio. Mm-hmm. Then it was Ant, Gobert, Nikhil. Then it's Ant, Naz Reid, Kyle Anderson. Mm-hmm. Ant, Gobert, Kyle Anderson. And then Ant, Naz Reid, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So of your best 3-man lineup combinations, Ant is part of all 5 of the top 5. Naz Reid part of 3 of the top 5. Yep. And Rudy Gobert part of 3 of the top 5. Mm-hmm. Right there. So it's like, okay, well, Naz, Gobert, Ant, let's find ways to get those guys together. If you go down to best pairings, okay, well, let's like when you put this player on the court at the same time, who are your best lineup combo pairings last year for the Wolves? Cat was not part of any of the top 8. Nikhil and Gobert, Gobert and Naz Reid, Ant Edwards and Kyle Anderson, Ant Edwards and Gobert, Ant Edwards and Naz Reid, Ant and Nikhil, Nikhil and Naz Reid, Conley and Gobert. You got to go down to the 9th spot to find Cat, even in one of your best pairings in terms of net rating. Mm-hmm. Super max players who make $50 to $60 million in a salary cap league can't go disappearing for half the playoff games, can't shoot 27% total in the first 3 games of the Western Conference Finals, can't be missing from your best lineup combinations, top 5, top 8. And then I'll give you one more. This dude, Cat, over the last 4 seasons, only one player has committed more fouls per game in the entire league than Karl-Anthony Towns, Jaren Jackson Jr. with Memphis. And for 4 consecutive years, he has led the NBA in offensive fouls per game. 4 consecutive years.
Wow.
Offensive fouls per game. So it's like when you add all this stuff up and we're talking about a super max player, $50, $60 million chunk of your salary cap, it almost becomes a no-brainer to sell high on him. Like people that were shocked, how could this happen? Man, when you look at playoffs, fouls, how he impacts or doesn't winning and net rating, this was actually a heist to trade him at his peak and get DiVincenzo, and Julius Randle's a really good player, and a Pistons protected first-round pick, and move off of that albatross contract, man. Like every day that goes by, I praise Tim Conley and commend him for having the stones to make this trade.
And if they had kept Cat, they were almost 100% going to lose Naz Reid, who they didn't want to lose, and who will get a nice contract, but a contract nowhere near what Cat's was. So, like this was done. I'm sure the Knicks kept pushing, because the reports are like the Wolves were not going to make this move, but the Knicks called them. I'm sure the Knicks did push, but I don't think this was nearly as difficult as I don't know. I mean, Conley played polka really well. That's what he does.
Yeah.
But, starting with Naz, I think there was no desire internally because he does all of the things that you want. He's talented, but he works his ass off. Came from a guy that was undrafted. And so Naz fits. And this is so Gobert on the trade mentioned this twice, and Mike Conley did too. Asked about Julius Randle, Gobert mentioned toughness twice. Conley said he's a dog. He's a dog out there. But think about Cat. Cat ain't no dog. Cat's a talented player. But they want what they want is they want people that embody what they want to do, especially defensively. And if you don't fit that, you sort of are an outlier to their structure. And so it's not that Randall's going to come here and be Cat, and it's not that he's going to be better than Cat.
He might frustrate people a little bit.
For a role, but for a year he's going to play a role, and it starts with grit. These guys want grit.
Yeah, it's the toughness thing. It's DiVincenzo, same way, man. Well, like that dude has a major pedigree.
For you, I got a nugget. Oh. So he's the linchpin.
I think he was the centerpiece of this.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. And here's why. So Conley, who is just, great analysis of basketball, right? I mean, this guy, going into year 18, he's seen it all. He is incredibly articulate. He was asked about the trade, and he's like, yeah, we're going to miss Cat, and everyone liked Cat. Like, I do think that we should make that clear, at least on the record. Everybody liked Cat. But let me give you the quote from Conley on DiVincenzo, which to me, you are absolutely going to salivate at, because it really gets to the heart of why I agree with you. Donte DiVincenzo was the centerpiece. What Donte will bring is something I think we desperately wanted to add. Spacing has been different than Cat spacing, being a big as opposed to somebody that's moving around. DiVincenzo can move around more. A lot of stuff Cat does, he'll do, but in a guard form. He's selfless. One of those guys like Drew Holiday. Yeah. You need guys like those individuals to win at a high level. I think that's the best explanation I heard all day about probably, I know, the most important player that the Wolves got back in this trade.
And
DiVincenzo.
and you look at, Cat shoots 40% from three. DiVincenzo the last 2 years has honed it to shoot about 39-40% from three. But to Conley's point, two things. The biggest difference is DiVincenzo is doing it sort of running around, running off screens. There's more ways to get him looks, 40% from three.
Yep.
And he gets off 9 per game.
Yep.
Cat was either through just lack of willingness or just, Cat would fall in love with the rest of his bag sometimes, and that's how he'd pick up the offensive fouls that have led the league in offensive fouls per game the last four years. You always kind of wanted him to find a way to get 8 or 9 of those things up, even if it meant just parking in the corner more often. And he only really averaged like 4.5 or 5 threes per game. So DiVincenzo comes in. Well, how are you going to replace Cat's shooting? Well, DiVincenzo is equally sniperish and gets more off per game. So he actually helps your math equation. Now, Julius Randle, this is where it's going to be really interesting to see. He's also banged up, and you got to figure out what's his health level. Right. But Julius Randle has sort of fallen in love at times with his three, even though he's like a 31 or 32% career shooter. And sometimes year by year, based on circumstance, his percentage might be closer to 40. He was great in the corner shooting threes last year. He's also been a starter who plays 35 minutes a game. Is that something that at some point, now that they can, hey, you're coming into our organization, does it make sense for Naz to start and Julius Randle plays a reduced role?
Yep.
Or does Julius Randle start, but you're not getting 35 minutes? It's going to be more like 28 minutes. We got to give the extra minutes to Naz. So there's some major things to figure out, and it won't click right away. But DiVincenzo at $11 or $12 million a year, an absolute dog who knocks down threes, Villanova pedigree, Milwaukee Bucks, Golden State Warriors, toughness, he's had a pretty incredible basketball path to this point. Right. And he was really breaking out the last couple seasons with Golden State and with the Knicks. And man, from what, he's going to be a fan favorite. He really is.
From what Mike said, I think the thing that they like the most is this is going to improve spacing. And Mike also mentioned, and this is why, that dude's smart. I wouldn't be absolutely shocked if I found out that Conley did make a phone call, that Tim Conley made a phone call to Mike to run this idea of the trade past him. Because Mike Conley also said, you know what? And sometimes, and it was a throwaway, but not, Gobert and Cat were both in the paint together, and that's two bigs, and that's hard to navigate. Yeah. So there was a lot. I think the spacing here, I think the mentality here, and if I'm not mistaken too, Randle's going into a contract year, correct?
Yeah, he has a player option for like $30 million after this year's over, and if he's healthy, he'll be like 30 years old. He almost certainly declines the player option to get a multi-year deal,
and that could help you.
Yeah,
from a salary cap standpoint, and as we talk about, but I found that all to be. I found Conley's explanation to be the most plausible and intriguing of, okay, that makes total sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt that Tim Connolly stealthily, whether he ran it by up front or whether he had certain discussions about maybe on the end of the season, hey, if we made some moves here, what types of things with spacing, what would be valuable. But yeah, I was kind of blown away by how people are crushed by this trade. And I get it, like fans, players, 8-9 years, you grow attachments to players. I've always just been more about the jersey and the team. And if a player has run his course and goes somewhere else, you wish that guy the best, but then somebody else, Stephon Diggs, goes away to Buffalo. Yeah, he was part of the biggest play in franchise history, and then now Justin Jefferson comes in. Mm-hmm. And if you trust Tim Connolly, he is operating at he's one of the 5 highest regarded presidents of basketball operations in the entire league. And if he is deciding 48 hours before Wolves report to training camp that this is the move that we need to get to the next level and to open up a longer term window,
right?
He's done nothing to this point to push back at it.
It's Chris Finch too.
Yeah, and Finch. There's no way Finch was like,
"Oh no,
we must like."
Right.
And Finch sits there and sees the offensive fouls and the temper tantrums and him shooting 13% the first 3 games of that Maverick series. Like, that's frustrating as a coach. Like, hey, I pulled all the right strings, and we were in these games leading in the fourth quarter, and if our other one could just knock down a couple wide open threes from time to time, we'd probably have a 2-1 lead in the series. So,
right. But this will now, including in Ant's mind, which is incredibly important, this will allow him to be the guy. And he'll have a ton of good parts. Like, this team is deep. This team has nice depth. And certainly guys will contribute, but I think it's important in Ant's mind to get away from that. Well, Karl has to have the ball too, because we're pals and stuff. You need to go to, no, Ant, you're the guy that's going to ideally dagger teams, and you got guys now that can help. And I do think that, look, I think that they're a tougher team to play against now.
Yeah, I think they will be too. I think regardless of like the long-term salary cap reasons, not wanting a $60 million albatross on your books in 3 years, like from a pure basketball standpoint,
right?
A lot of people are trying to frame this as like a cost-cutting move. It is not a cost-cutting move. They will have the second highest payroll in the NBA this year. They are projected to have the third highest payroll in the NBA next year. This was a basketball trade. Tim Conley thinks they will be better at basketball because they swapped Cat for Julius Randle and Donte DiVincenzo.
Well, and baseball is different because there's no cap, right? So like you can spend as much as you possibly want, the Dodgers, the Yankees. But this is also like, if this does cut costs, this is in a sense where it does so from a salary cap standpoint. So it puts you in a better. I like not closing your window on purpose if you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that this is about saving pennies. I think that this is about saving them against the cap to try and supplement the roster in years to come. By the way, fully knowing that you have, again, a guy that is becoming the face of the entire league on your team.
And on Cat, I believe, and I would guess Tim Connolly does too, that at age 29, I believe he has peaked as a player. Like the last couple of years, age, just physical, does your body hold up? I think he's peaked as a player. So if he has already hit his peak as a player and his contract is only going to keep going up and up and up on the Supermax, then from this day forward, he will be a depreciating asset that becomes harder and harder to get something for. And that's another thing Tim Connolly was clearly weighing here was, do I just sell high on, if you can sell high and also get good pieces back that make you a better basketball team, even better. Before we go deeper into what you learned at Wolves Media Day, let's tell the audience about Podrigs, the official beer of the Sports Dad.
Most definitely a beer that, hold on a second here, Sports Dad, it tastes like a beer. Exactly right. Oh, pop one, pop two of them. Because
here, I'll pop another one.
Thank you very much.
There we go, right there.
Fantastic, because this is the official beer of the Sports Dad, a local craft brewery that is recreating Irish and UK classics. And Wolves fans, I'm going to tell you right now, they have a red that is absolutely fantastic. I know you're saying the Reds, who's got those? In fact, I've been asked what they taste like because they've been gone for so long. Well, I'm telling you, try one now. They are outstanding. Now you're saying, well, how can I try one? I'm going to tell you, it's this simple. Podrigs available in more than 80 liquor stores in the metro. That's right. Also, that they've got their own brewery location located in the old Land Nod factory at the corner of Broadway and Central Avenues Northeast. Find them on Facebook or Instagram, or check out their website for more details at Podrigs.com. Podrigs.com. Sports Dad's got a new beer, and I'm going to tell you right now, it is delicious.
Hey, KW Outdoor Solutions is here for those of you that partake in holiday lights. I know we do at the Mackey household. But if the idea of hanging your own lights gives you a little anxiety or some heartburn, let KW Outdoor Solutions do it for you. Design, installation, maintenance, takedown, storage. They handle roof lines, trees, shrubs. They do everything. Everything from just a single color look, or maybe just go full all-in Clark Griswold and scare away the neighbors. KW Outdoor Solutions, locally owned and operated in the Twin Cities metro area. You can learn more at kwouttdoorsolutions.com. All right, what else did you learn today?
A couple more things. Back to Ant as far as his personal game and shape. So to go back to Karl, it was a few years back where Karl said, Ant post game has to learn. He can't go get, go eat junk food, blah, blah, blah. Well, let's just say that Ant got back from the Olympics, went right into the weight room, and he is bigger, but he's not fatter. He's lost fat. He's gained muscle. He's looks absolutely ripped. He said, quote, "I'm in the best shape I've ever been in." I don't doubt him. The Olympics, in him talking about those teams, that team, like you could tell it changed him. Like it's had, I would say it's not a reach to say it's had a profound effect on him as a basketball player. Like talking about the players, he claims that he has stolen a pregame routine from LeBron. He has not done it yet because they're yet to have a game. But he said, I have stolen his. Now, I don't know if that means on the court. I don't know if that means pregame. But here's the thing, and this is great news. This dude went to school. Like he did not go there to like have a great time and bleep around. I would say that Ant was partially in awe of his teammates, but also accepted. And I think his willingness and desire to be great and learn is, something that a LeBron embraces, right? A Steph embraces. There is no question that his relationship with KD remains something worth watching. I don't know if that ever goes somewhere with KD possibly coming here, but he clearly worships him. So that's one. And then the second thing is Mike Conley did confirm that Chris Finch has told him that he wants to scale him back. Now, Mike Conley is going into season 18. Mike Conley played in 76 regular season games.
Yeah. That's
so
wild.
I think there is a plan to scale him back. There are a few options of guys that can obviously, including Ant, handle the basketball if Conley is not playing. But I don't think you are going to see Mike Conley in 2025, 26 or 24, 25, I should say. I don't think you're going to see him play in 76 regular season games again.
No, he should not. And he was playing, they had him out there a lot of minutes too. If he's going to play 60, 65 games and play 27 minutes a night and be fresh throughout the entire time, and they can find a way but Dillingham is an interesting wild card here because obviously if he can play, then cool, you've got your backup point guard, ball handler, initiator. But Ant, we can do some point. Ant obviously can mix in. No. You can put the ball in, Nickeil Alexander-Walker's hands for chunks. I wouldn't do it for 35 minutes a night over the course of a month and a half, but there's options. Finch
talked about the potential guys if Mike is not playing who could handle the basketball. Brought up Joe Ingles, who, by the way, is a complete character.
He's great.
He is a character. He is hilariously funny.
Yeah, he's going to be
a great quote.
Yeah, it remains to be seen how many actual minutes he's going to play on
Who
this
knows?
team.
But it'll be a great quote.
But he can still gun it too. You could put him out there for 12 minutes throughout a game and have him launch a couple threes in the corner. He's got experience playing with Gobert.
He's fantastic.
So that should be fun too.
Yeah, and Conley.
Was there any indication as to when this trade might get finalized, or
No.
they're just completely
Conley shut it down immediately. So no. and I don't know, is this all now down to paperwork by the league, salaries and things like that?
Well, it'd be awkward if it fell through, huh?
Because you've
those
got
cat pictures back up on the wall.
Because you got Charlotte involved as well, correct?
Yeah, there's like
I think Charlotte's
like
the
a random
facilitator.
guy, or
Yeah. But no, there was absolutely no talk. And my guess is that once it's done, we will then have, to introduce DiVincenzo and Randle, and for Conley to talk about it, another press conference.
Yeah. There's another angle here too that I'm just curious to see. Jaden McDaniels has not really been relied on in an offensive manner. It's kind of like, hey, whatever you can give us
he talked
to supplement the offense. But now that Cat's gone, and Julius Randle has some health questions and long-term fit questions, I don't think it's as simple as, well, Julius Randle becomes your number 2 because he's been averaging 25 points a game.
I agree with this.
I think the job of Wolves' number 2 offensive player is open for business. I think there's a chance DiVincenzo could become that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a chance that Jaden McDaniels could go from being like a 10 or 12 points per game guy to something closer to 17. I also think Julius Randle could wind up just fitting and you make it work in some capacity. But yeah, how does this affect Jaden McDaniels is going to be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think the one thing to keep in mind is Randle was not obtained to replace Cat. Like this is not well, if he's not good, they're screwed. I think he could be a nice acquisition. I'm guessing he might come off the bench. I think he'll bring what they want demeanor-wise, but I think you're exactly right. And Finch's quote on Jaden was, "It comes down to me to call his number more," which he talked about. Jaden's been this, well, we really should get him the ball more guy for like 2 years now. Yeah. So I guess I'll believe it when I see it more consistently. But Finch said that Jaden's had a great summer, that they've been playing like pickup games for 6 weeks. He also said, Finch did, Josh Minott, he said, has had an incredible summer. He said the last 6 weeks he's been fantastic in these pickup games.
I wonder if that's true or if they're boosting his value.
I know. I'm just passing along what he said. I never trust that. Like, everyone's been in the weight room. Everyone's been playing. Everyone looks great. I can never tell. But I think the Jaden thing, I think it's fair to say this. Jaden has definitely the potential to do way more offensively, but I'll believe that Jaden does that when he actually gets that chance, because I feel like it's been a theory for 2 years now.
Yeah,
that he's gonna now. This is gonna be the year that Jaden steps up.
But what's weird, I guess, is he doesn't lack a bag offensively. He can shoot threes. He can handle. He's got a mid-range game, and he can obviously get to the rim because he's athletic. So he's got like a 3-level offensive bag. I'm not saying he needs to score 25 points a night. And then, like, just real quick, one last thing for me on the Josh Minott front. Leonard Miller's another guy to keep an eye on, just those young players. Right now, I think they have 10 absolute solidified rotation players to start the season. So let's say if Julius Randle is ready to rock and roll, let's say it's Gobert, maybe Randle starting for now, and then Jaden McDaniels, Ant, and Mike Conley. And then your bench is Donte DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, Nikhil, and then I think Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr. are going to get run early. They're going to get a chance. So that's 10. And then Joe Ingles is in kind of a separate bin.
Got to give my guy Joe some time.
I agree. I'd love to see that guy out there for even just give him a couple, give him 4 minutes in the second quarter.
Knock him down.
So he's a guy that you could probably put out there for, 10, 12 minutes for a month, and then maybe he goes away for a little bit and comes back. But that's 11. And then there's the bin of like Leonard Miller, Josh Minott, Luka Garza, Jalen Clark coming off the rehab from UCLA, TJ Warren, PJ Dozier. So they've got a lot of depth here.
They've all had great summers. It's been unbelievable how hard they've worked in the progress. You won't believe the progress.
Best shape of everyone's life.
Yep. Incredible. But Ant is a monster right now. Like he's ready to go.
Yeah. This is a good, deep team with a lot of athletes now.
Yep.
Guys who can handle, guys who can shoot some threes here. So super, super exciting times here on Flagrant Howls. Good stuff. Good reporting out there.
Thank you.
Sports Dad.
Copious
nice work.
Notes. I was taking lots, pages and pages of notes, highlighted. Whew.
Yeah, I'm excited to be out there at Target Center a lot this season too. So yeah, Flagrant Howls. It's almost October. The Wolves have reported, so we're off to the races here. That's a wrap on this episode, but we'll hit you at least once, maybe twice more this week on your favorite Timberwolves lifestyle podcast.